welcome to Bad Music Taste and Other Ways to Ruin Your Life. My name is Dominic.
And my name is Sam.
And Sam has the record for this week.
The album of the week this week is Licensed to Ill by the Beastie Boys. It was originally released on November 15th, 1986 by Def Jam and Columbia Records and was their debut album. This was also the first rap LP to top the Billboard album chart. I was first introduced to the Beastie Boys by my mom as she would play them all the time when I was here, and the copy I have here is a repress on black vinyl. But anyway, today our guest is Doug Carrion, bassist of the Descendents, Dag Nasty, and Field Day. We're very excited to be able to chat with him today, so thank you, Doug.
Greetings from space. What's happening, guys? Hey, interwebs. What's going on? I'm Mr. Doug. Thanks for having me. Dom, I'm going to pivot in the other direction. You showed me your cup. Now here I go. Look, here I go. And what makes this one so cool, it's the Doug mug. The Doug mug. So there you go. We're getting all lit on coffee, or at least I am. You guys seem a little bit young, so I don't know if coffee is your thing, but there you go.
Some days.
Whatever. What's happening? Sam, that was a great intro. I see where you're going with that. I remember when that record came out, I'll nerd out for 1 second. I remember when that record came out and I was listening to the top, and you know how it starts with that intro at the top, the long 808s, and I was like, yeah, that sounds freaking insane. Because what's interesting is that a lot of recordings back then were relatively lo-fi. Like if you listen to Minor Threat and all those records they're kind of lo-fi, and this was one that was like incredibly punk rock, but high fidelity, like really like it sounded so big. I remember hearing the 808s, boom, boom, and I was like, oh my, these guys are gonna freaking rule the world. And they did, like, pretty freaking badass record. Super cool, because I was familiar with the Cookie Puss 7-inch.
Yeah.
And I loved Cookie Puss because it was just so weird and abstract, but Cookie Puss was more like Flipper, like just like a weird, noisy, noisy, whatever. There you go. Beastie Boys. Oh, there you go.
So my first question is, having been in all these amazing bands such as the Descendents, Dag Nasty, and currently Field Day, you must have a lot of fun on tour, but what are some of the stories that really stick out?
Oh my God. Some of the story, I don't even, off the top of my head, some of the stories that really stick out. I would say some of the stories that stick out, meeting Joey Ramone, insane.
Wow.
Just like some of the, I mean, for me, the first time I got to meet Ian, just stuff like that, where those are stories for me where, as a guy, that just liked music, it's like you just like music, and then all of a sudden you're thrown into this situation where you run across characters that are kind of like punk icons or whatever, and that's probably like the coolest part about as when I was I guess when I started touring. Like, an example would be Fletcher from Pennywise. He and I loved Minor Threat, and Fletcher was the one that turned me on to Minor Threat. And so for me, standing in Washington, D.C., hanging out with Ian was like, holy Fletcher, I'm standing next to Ian. This is amazing. So, and that's one of the coolest things about punk rock too, is that there's not as much separation between the bands, or like, that's what I always really liked about it.
Like you go to one of these shows, it's like there's a chance you can meet somebody in the band. It's not like you're going to see like Van Halen or anything.
It's funny because on the same subject with Field Day, and I know you're gonna roll into this, Peter and I and the band, after we're done playing, we hang out for an hour. And we just tell people, like, look, if you want to get a picture, you want us to sign stuff, you want to say hi, whatever it is, we're the most user-friendly band in the universe, and we build it in. Like, I'm such a wanker. Like, at the end of the show, I'll be like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, no more music, but if you want to hang out, we're going to hang out for an hour. And people just, whatever, they just go, okay. They just stick around. It's super cool for us to do that, because it reminds us one, we love, reconnecting with people and meeting new people and all that other stuff, but it's also just the truth about where we are as far as people and how we appreciate people coming out to the shows. And so we build it straight into the show. Like after the show, come hang out. We'll hang out for about an hour. Totally works. It's a blast. So going back to your question, some tours were Descendents' first tour in the beat up van was just insane because the van was a total beater, just a beater van that broke down every day. And it was the first time the Descendents were going from Southern California all the way across to the other side of the country to play the East Coast. And so it was like just a funky van and a lot of days off in between shows. So we were just wandering aimlessly around America. But, I guess you could imagine that I'm a relatively hyperactive person. And then so you throw all those weirdos in a van. We were just always causing trouble and looking for the next adventure. So that was like some of the first tours, Descendents tours were just incredible. Just because of the, do you know, like when you go to, like when you laugh so hard, your side hurts?
Yes.
Like, oh my God, stop making me laugh. That's like a Descendents tour. It's like that. Like, dude, stop talking. I can't talk anymore. Whatever. What's the best part of those tours? Laughing, having fun, making music, meeting people, getting to go to new places.
Yeah.
All that for sure.
Okay. So my first question is, so I've seen that you definitely have a past in creating music for television series. So what was this experience like for you, and what were the benefits of working in that field?
So the experience, from a writing perspective, the experience is the people move lightning fast. So what I mean by that is you'll get a call at 10 in the morning, like, hey, we want a song that sounds like ABC, and you got to turn that thing in by 4 o'clock. So it's like, you have to move lightning fast. So if you can jump over this, I'm going to segue into something kind of cool too. The other thing is, when you work with people that aren't creatives, but they're the person signing the check, a lot of times they don't have really good ideas, and they'll give you the worst information, like, it sounds a little brown. And you're like, brown? Like, what do you mean? Like the guitars are too loud? Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? So, like, English, tell me in English, what? Brown. So that part of it blows in that you have to be, I guess I'm going to take the PMA side. The positive is it helps you learn how to deal with people that are giving you creative information and creative briefs that you have to decipher the code, right? There's that. But now I'm going to let you in on, ready for this? You guys are going to love this. My Da Vinci idea. So Leonardo da Vinci, you guys look it up in the history books, was Italian. He did everything from painting to architecture, blah, 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 blah. Total badass. Here's what Da Vinci used to do, which is a bit like the Jedi mind trick. Okay. So Da Vinci, when he was hired to do a design, let's say he was going to build a palace for somebody, he would intentionally put a pillar right in the middle of the room. And so the person would look at the plans and be like, what's with the pillar? The pillar's horrible. Da, 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 da. And he'd be like, right. And then once he removed the pillar, right, he created reciprocity of trust. He created trust, like, these aren't the droids you're looking for. It's a bit like the jet, like, you know what I'm talking about? Where it's like, these aren't the ones. And you kind of have to play a little bit of a psychological game with people in that space. So that's I guess you could say that's the plus. It's amazing how I always seem to find the humor in whatever it is. Like, all right, here's what I'm up against. How can I make it fun? And so that's what it is. You have to be able to move lightning fast. The majority of the time, people don't understand what you're doing. I apologize. My internet's kind of funky, so it's like because of the COVID thing, everybody in my neighborhood is like using the internet, so it's really kind of dodgy. Anyway, so if you want me to repeat something, don't be shy. Did that answer your question, Sam, about the
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet.
Okay, so how did Field Day really come about? Did you guys just have like an itch to play Dag Nasty songs again, or was there something else to it?
No, there's definitely the itch to play the Dag Nasty songs. I'm gonna go with I like we were scratching the itch. So Peter and I remained friends the whole time. Like we touch base every once in a while. Peter focused more on like academics, and he kind of went in that direction, and I continued playing music. But when the idea of doing Field Day had come up, we were like, wow, it's kind of an interesting idea. Would you want to do it? Would I want to do it? How could we do it? We live in different coasts. Like we totally live in different coasts, but we figured out a way to make it work. But I would say the answer to it is definitely more of us loving making music and us loving those songs. Like that's kind of that's pretty much more of the root of it, is like, holy whoa, we love that stuff. Then we're also kind of humbled that people are still interested in coming out and hearing it, and all that is kind of cool. That's kind of cool too. And then also, to be perfectly honest too, guys, the band is just insane. It's really, really good, insanely tight. It just doesn't let up. It's pretty intense. Like it's an intense show. Like it's a lot like the Ramones in a way, where it's like there's no gap between the songs. We just play for like an hour straight. So it's kind of cool. But that was the idea. Definitely was more having fun and making music. We love those songs. Okay, cool.
All right, so my next question is, you've been involved in many bands over the years, you've been in the music industry, but which of these bands would you say impacted or taught you the most?
Ooh, they all, I'm going to say all of them have different things that you learn. So for Descendants, I'd say for Descendants, it was more about how to be able to do shows on no sleep, which was pretty incredible because, you know, it's a punk band, and it's not for the thin skinned to be in that band, especially at that time. There's that. For Dag Nasty, when I joined Dag Nasty, I don't know how it happened, but I ended up being the guy that was proficient on the phone. So I was always the guy booking the shows and doing all that stuff. So that was my big takeaway from that, you know, doing that. And then as I continued playing in bands, you kind of learn little skill sets here and there. But one of the other things that I did was a little bit further down the line, like when we're talking about like we're making music for television and stuff, I started to learn how to make better demos. And I was doing that just because I just wanted to be able to share music with friends or share it with people and not have it sound horrible. And so I got really good at the studio part of the puzzle. So each one kind of has its own little nugget that I took and I apply now. But you know, I am a bit of an anomaly in that sometimes people have this preconceived idea that people in the entertainment business or people in the music business are kind of flaky, and there might be some people that are flaky, but I'm not like that. Like I have I have like a very, very different, just a different way of doing things. And I move ridiculously fast. Like, remember before where I was saying that I'm hyper? It's like, for some people, it can be annoying. So what I was saying is, if I'm repeating myself, I apologize, but because the internet's funky, I was saying that for me, for me, I'm a guy that like is super hyper and very aggressive when it comes to working. Like I work really hard, like 7 days a week. I don't take days off. I'm like
Yeah.
go go go, and that particular skill is something that can kind of annoy people, you know. So you learn the balance of what you're doing. There's that preconceived idea that musicians are flaky or whatever. It's like, I not only am I not flaky, but I can do a wide variety of things because I came from the do-it-yourself world. So
Yeah.
like, you know, I wouldn't I wouldn't claim to the best graphics guy. I wouldn't claim to be the best graphics guy, but like I could do graphics. I could build a website. I could do audio engineering. I can write songs. I can get up on the band, you know, so those are all I could talk to people. You know, so it's just, you do all those things and it's kind of like that's what I've taken up to this point, from doing it. You know, I've been doing it for a zillion years,
Yeah.
but I love what I do. I freakishly, like, just crazy. Is it okay? Is the internet okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Okay.
I
Cool.
think it's a good thing to always love what you do, just because like something my parents have always told me is a job is something to make money and a career is something that you want to do for the rest of your life and that you enjoy doing.
Right.
So I just always think it's really cool to hear how passionate people are about what they do, especially musicians.
Well, I mean, for me, it's like whether it's, you know, I don't know. There's definitely hiccups and bumps, but I freakishly love what I do. Like freakishly love what I do. You know, I probably am like a guy that does. It sometimes in a way it's a little bit selfish. You know what I mean? It's like you're so, I don't know. It's like somebody. Let's say an application might be. Let's say it's somebody that's like a video game person, and that's all they do is video games. And you're like, hey, Brian, look over here. And they're like, video games, video games. I'm the same way with music, where it's like it could really be almost annoying for people how hyper focused I am. I go to bed very late and I wake up very early, and I'm like, you get the idea that it's like I kind of roll with it. I go fast and hard with it, you know, super quick, have fun. You know?
Yeah.
So, when Field Day first started, did you guys expect to put out a record, or did you just intend to play some shows and just see what happens?
It was a little bit of at first it was like we were going to do 12, 24 shows, something like that, and see where it goes. And then one mark. So believe it or not, this month on the 12th, we're officially 1 year old. we've just been going insanely hard for the first year. So it's like, we're good.
Yeah.
The answer is yes. We always wanted to do new music, because or else people would just think it was like a legacy band or a tribute band or something, you know. So we're like, we got to do new music. So which is kind of cool, you know. So that's, yes, new music, yes. For sure.
Yeah, I think in bands that have played together, you know, before, and like we're playing like music from the Descendents, I think it is important to have other music, so you kind of like brand yourself, like you said, that you're not just like a legacy band, that you brand yourself for Field Day and that you are a different band.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you know, you bring up an interesting question for both of you. I'll ask you this one. So I was doing an interview the other day, and the person had asked me when we were going to incorporate new music into the show. And so for me, I'm always wondering, like, you know, like, how could you go see fill in the blank your favorite band? How could you go to see the Descendents and they're not going to play Suburban Home, or
Yeah, they're not gonna play
Bear,
Hope.
you know, I don't know. Yeah, so they're not going to play Hope. So that becomes a big question of how are we going to do it? How's Field Day going to, maneuver through this? Is it like, hey guys, here's our new 7-inch, and you just blast through it, boom, 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 you know, you do it, or is it like, I don't know, you know, I mean, I'm open to letting it unfold, but we really like, we are not only are we a live band, but we're also a recording band that's
Yeah.
relative. So, I don't know. Did you guys I know we didn't talk about it, but I guess I'll take the opportunity to say, just so you know, so we finished the Field Day 2.0 7-inch, right? And it's doing relatively well. Thank you for everybody who purchased it. As far as it's doing really well in Germany. Like it's like #1 on the sales charts and junk over there. It's just doing really well. But we're right back in the studio, which is kind of interesting. So we're working on another recording right now called Opposite Land, which is going to be a 5-song EP. So it'll be a 12-inch, but it's going to be 5 songs on one side. And on the reverse side, we're going to have Peter do like a etching, some kind of like design or drawing or something.
Oh, cool.
So we are, we're right back in the studio. Like when I'm done with this call, I'll be mixing, like doing like rough mixes and stuff. Like remember before in the conversation where I was like, I could be kind of annoying because I'm so like, it's the DIY thing. It's like, oh God, I drive people crazy, but we're right back in the studio recording. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to hear the 5 new songs. I've listened to Field Day 2.0. It's so good.
I'll be happy.
I like it a lot. Yeah.
Thank you. What's the song for you on Field Day 2.0? Do you have a preference to one versus the other? What's your take on it?
I prefer We Are the Change a little bit more than Searching for the Answers, but they're both great.
Right. Thank you. Sam, do you have a choice of one versus the other?
Not really.
Because not really. Are you a fan of it, or you're like, Jesus, what a dog that 7-inch is? Do you use the 7-inch as a frisbee?
So basically, I've heard music from the Descendents because Dominic puts together playlists, because our music taste kind of comes together in the middle from 2 separate genres. So
beautiful.
I just heard little bits of everything. So yeah, right. That's why.
Well, it's okay, cool, and there you go. And the other thing too is it's a weird. I don't know. It may be for you. It may not be for you. I totally love it and respect it. Whatever. What are you listening to outside? Like if Dominic's on the punk rock kind of Descendents side of the coin, where are you? Are you like a hip hop person?
I'm a little bit on alternative pop punk. I kind of lean over there.
Like
Palais Royale, Water Parks, My Chemical Romance, all those kind of bands. So.
Okay, cool. I like My Chemical Romance like that. I like that band. For sure.
See, and then there's the overlap of the bands that we like. I like Palais Royale as well.
Yeah, and I've heard some of Less Than Jake and Goldfinger from Dominic, so it leads together.
So yeah, well, I mean, again, it's as long as there's something that you can hang your hat on and it's good and it's fun and it's exciting, it's interesting that you say Less Than Jake. Less Than Jake, for me, Less Than Jake, Goldfinger, and Descendents all kind of fit in a very similar box to kind of pull from the ska thing, which is bitchin', but they're all kind of happy, that kind of spazzy happy music.
Yeah.
Spazzy happy music,
See, and I think that describe the ska music just describes my personality, that spazzy happy kid.
What's that other band that had that that Bowling for Soup? Is that what that band is? Hold on, I know my internet cut out. Stand by 1 second. Did my internet come back?
Yeah,
you're good.
Okay, cool. What is that? Bowling for Soup? Are they the ones? Is that other kind of ska, lightning fast ska band?
I don't.
What about Suicide Machines? Is that for you? Suicide Machines?
They're pretty good.
That first, dude. That first Suicide Machines records.
Yeah, and I just got their I had pre-ordered their new record. Back when it first came out, and
they're really good guys. Yeah. They're really like super, very, very, really good guys. In fact, pre-COVID, we were supposed to go up to Detroit, and I was going to Jason while we were there, but just I don't know. The COVID thing's just it's difficult. It's a challenge. That's cool. All right, so you're way over on more of the alternative side of the equation. Huh,
Yeah.
interesting. That's good. That's good. Even though I play in a punk band, that's not the only style of music that I like.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just, of course, it's natural. It's like maybe you're I can be a bit, it's okay for you to have a bunch of different things, and then that gives you just a little bit better reference when you're hearing stuff. But that's cool that you guys figured out a way to a happy medium between the two. Dominic, what about like on the other side of the coin? Like, do you like the Cookie Monster bands?
I mean, just this morning I was listening to Napalm Death. So.
Oh, okay. So the answer is yes. And then Sam, where are you with that? Like, can you stomach Cannibal Corpse and that kind of stuff, or no way, Jose?
I mean, I can. Yeah, I'm not opposed to that whatsoever. I will say, as stereotypical as it may sound, I have to be in a certain mood to listen to some music that's like heavier. But I'm not opposed to it. No, I can listen.
Of course, I think you just hit an interesting button in that you have to be in a certain mood for certain things. I don't know. I'm a fan of like I don't know. I might like hard music or something like that, but it's usually not what I listen to right in the morning. It's usually like after 12 or whatever, when my brain has started to settle in a little bit. When my brain is moved, it's kind of like when I'm in like third gear, I'm like, all right, I'm ready for Ramones. Let's go. I'm ready for Ramones. Let's go. Okay, I'm ready. I don't know what.
And then like,
but that's me. Cool.
Yeah, if I'm like, I'm gonna go outside and skateboard in my driveway, then I'm like, I'll put on some NoFX or something like that.
There you go. You get your Pennywise on. You get your Pennywise flex.
Yeah.
So as we're all talking about a ton of genres of music, my final question for you is: you've played multiple different genres such as Americana, punk rock, rap rock, and even more. So what would you say inspired these changes in genre throughout your career?
And what inspired that? I get bored easily. I love all different styles of music. I think that when you get bored doing music, I'm of the opinion that there's so much music out there that it could take you 3 lifetimes to hear it. That's how much music there is. And whenever you're bored of something, it's wonderful to switch in a different direction. So I think that kind of helps. That's the answer. It's just like, whenever I get bored with something, rather than like, this sucks, I'm not doing it anymore or whatever, I just go do something else, and then come back to it or whatever. And that's kind of like, I'd say just me liking all different styles of music, and then also feeling brave enough to take a swing at it and go, I'm just going to. What is when something comes through the Doug filter, what happens? How does that work? How do I see it through my own lens? And I think that when it comes to art, you might. Here's an example. If I asked you to draw a picture of the Eiffel Tower, in your mind, you kind of know what you're going to do. I know what I would do. Dominic, you know what you're going to do, but all of us would have very different interpretations of that. Okay. And now I use the same idea, but when it comes to music, like if I were to do my own version of, let's say, my own version of death metal, it would be Doug's way. It'd be my own way of doing that. You know what I mean? And so I really trust myself enough to try things, even if it's outside of my of my normal comfort zone. I'll try it, and you see how it goes. But yes, certainly like just trying different things, I don't want to live in a vacuum. I want to try other stuff.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I totally get
Super.
that.
Thanks, Dominic and Sam, for having me. I appreciate it. If you're trying to find Mr. Doug out there in the interwebs, it's Field Day Sounds out there in the Facebook world or in the Instagram. Thanks to the crew that always helps us put music together. We love it. If you're trying to find us also in Europe, it's Unity Worldwide and Cortex. They have the music there. Other than that, I want to see you at a show. I want to see you at a show. So hopefully I'll see you soon. And keep rocking, stay healthy, blah, 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 and keep me posted. If, for whatever reason, look how hyper I'm getting. It's like a wrestler. I am the best. Oh, no. It's like a wrestler guy. Oh, my God. If for whatever reason Baltimore happens or whatever, I'll circle back on you, Dominic. You guys definitely got to come out to the show. We'll do pictures and all that other
For
stuff.
sure.
Whatever, if
Definitely.
you want. Or shall I say, Samantha, the next time, if, wink, wink, I run into Frank from My Chemical Romance, I'll take a photo and send it to you. Because I do see some characters now and again. So there you go.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty rad. Anyway, that's all I got, guys. Thanks a gazillion. If you need me, you know how to find me, right?
Yep.
Okay. No problem.
Okay, cool.
Stay safe.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you again. Ciao.
See ya.
See ya.